Hi everyone, welcome to another review. Today I am reviewing a Campion Lantern LED light. This is by Andy Starr. Let's hop right into it. So, the reason why I got this one instead of all the other LED Campion lights is because this one has solar as well as USB charging. So, when you first get it, it's going to come into a regular Amazon box such as this. Here is the Amazon box. All right. So you got a regular Amazon box, and inside that box, you'll see this box. Now, I already opened this because I had tested it first before I wanted to do the reviews. But anyway, this is what comes with it. And inside the box, you'll see this little pamphlet here, and you'll see the two LED lantern lights. And it also comes with two batteries and two USB cables. So here is one that's all bubble wrapped as I just dropped the battery. So just bubble wrap off. So we got that. There's the battery. It comes with it. It is a 2000 mAh battery. It's a rechargeable battery. I would suggest upgrading this, but we'll get into that in a second. So there's one battery, and this one already has a battery in it as I've done for testing. But here is the other lantern. So you get two of them, as you can see here. And inside the box, you'll have two of these mini, I guess, are micro USB cables. There's two of them. I had the other one set to the side because I was using it for testing. But here is the other one right here. As you can tell, it's not very long. Here's the cable. And if you see it against my arm, it's really not very long. It's kind of short. Here is what you get. So you get everything seen here. Like I said, there's two batteries. Now to insert the battery, what you do, and be careful when you do this, you just twist the top like this, just a little bit. And when you take this off, take it off gingerly because there's two wires connected. And these two wires are connected to the solar panel. And if you just rip the lid off, you're going to break these wires. And that's where the battery goes. You put it back on, you just line it up like this, and you just do a little bit of twist, and it's back on. Here is the USB charging. This is for you know uh, charging this via the USB cable, and this one is for the micro USB. This little LED light here, when it's solid red like it is now, that means it's fully charged. When this light is blinking, that means it's charging. Now, this button here is for the flashlight underneath. You press it and it lights up the flashlight. As you can see, it's pretty bright, so it's very impressive. These are hooks, so you unlatch the hooks like this, and when you pull it straight up, you now have the lantern. And here's the lantern part. It's collapsible. It's very nice. This is very lightweight. You can carry it multiple ways. Here is another little handle right here on the side where the button is. So if you want to carry it like this for a flashlight, or if you want to hook it to something, these two handles are the same way. You can also hook this around something and just have it hang like this. There's really not much to it. The solar panels on the top. The reason why, like I said, I got these is because you get two of them. First off, they're pretty cheap too. They're very inexpensive. I think I paid $25 on Amazon to get two of these units. You can't beat it. They're rechargeable. There's two ways to charge it: USB and solar, as I stated. Very simple. We're going to get into the pros and cons here in a little bit, but like I said, the reason why I got this is because of the solar panel. Now, the solar panel is small, and let's talk about that for a moment. So, out in the sunlight, and I timed this. When these are completely dead, I had this out in the sun for 10 hours. After the sun went down, this light here was still blinking. It still wasn't even full charge from the sunlight. And I got maybe about an hour and a half before the light died from being solar charged. Now, in the manufacturer's defense, They do state that the solar charging should only be used if absolutely necessary. So if you're out in the woods, and of course there's no outlets or plugs out in the woods, you might want to use the solar to charge the unit. If you're taking this camping, I would suggest taking both of the units with you so that you can alternate. Maybe use one charging, or I'm sorry, maybe use one as a light source until it dies, and then switch to this one. Because if you're charging this with solar power and it doesn't get a full charge, you're only going to get maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of light from this before it dies. The USB charging, on the other hand, to charge it from when it's completely dead to a full charge using the USB cable, it took about 4 hours to charge. I got a complete charge out of it, but I only got about maybe a little over 3 hours worth of light. But if you alternate, when this one dies after 3 hours, and you use this one for the remainder of the 3 hours, you'll get 6 hours of light. So yeah, it doesn't last all night long, but it's great if you're using it for an emergency or if you just need a light inside your tent. But keep this in mind. This is not a replacement for the propane lanterns. Now, if you want to get a lantern, if you want this to light up your campsite at night, it's not going to work very well. Even though it looks very bright here on camera, it's nice and bright indoors, and I'm assuming because it's got walls and such so that the light can reflect off of. But outdoors there's not much reflection. The light's not very strong. It's great for like maybe within a 6-foot radius, but come on, if you're outdoors, you pretty much have to be on top of it for it to work. But the flashlight portion works excellent indoors and outdoors. So keep that in mind. If in the event of a power outage and you're at home, these work excellent. Like I said, the lantern portion and the flashlight portion works great indoors, but outdoors it leaves much to be desired. So keep that in mind. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the pros and cons, and let's see if this is worth getting or not. So let's go ahead and jump into the pros. Price-wise, you can't go wrong. An excellent price for about $20-$25. You get 2 LED solar lamps. Also included is the 2000 mAh battery, and you also get 2 micro USB cables. You really can't go wrong price-wise. It's a great deal, and that alone almost makes it worth buying. Now, as I mentioned in the review, it does have 2 modes of charging. You can use the solar panel for charging, which is limited. In all fairness, the manufacturer even admits this. Or you can use the USB charging. Now, as I mentioned in my review, the solar charging, I had the unit, it was completely dead. I made sure it was drained. I had it sitting outside from morning until evening, good 10 hours, and direct sunlight, wasn't even a cloudy day. And the red LED light was still blinking when I brought it in the house. It didn't even get a full charge. Now, the solar panels, they are kind of small, so I really wasn't expecting to get a full charge, but I would say if I had to put a percentage on it, it might have charged it maybe 30, maybe 40% charged after 10 hours in the sun. That gave me, at night, it gave me a good hour and a half of decent light before it started getting dim. It was about 2 hours before it completely died. And that was just off the solar charging. So it wasn't too bad. In an event emergency, it would have worked. But if you're using this and you're dependent on this for, like, if you're camping, that type of thing, then it's probably not going to work out for you with the solar. But that's just my opinion. It might work out for others, but you can still use it as a flashlight, that type of thing. But let's go ahead and continue. And as I also mentioned, you get 2 of these. You don't just get one, you get 2 of them. So for the price, not bad. And you can also alternate between the 2. So you might extend those usage hours just by alternating. And we're getting that in a sec. I do like the collapsible design. You pull on the bars, as I said in the reviews, and up comes the lantern, and it's automatically on. There is no power switch for the lantern. The power switch that's on there, the black button, that's just for the flashlight portion alone. The power for the lantern, it turns on automatically when you extend it. When you collapse it, it turns off the lantern. And with the extra hooks on there, and you can hook it any way you like it. The hooks, they are wire, so they're not plastic hooks. And it's very, very lightweight. Very lightweight. It almost seems like it's cheaply made, but yet it's not. So nobody wants to carry a heavy lantern around with them anyway. So to me, the lightness was worked out very well because, it's lightweight. It's not very heavy at all. And as I said before, it also combines into a flashlight. And the flashlight is very powerful. Worked out very well. So let's hop over to the cons. As I mentioned before with the solar panel, it's nice that it has it, but it's very weak. It will get you through an event and emergency, and if you have no other way to charge the unit, the solar power will work. But keep in mind, don't rely solely on the solar power to charge this all the way, because it's never going to charge it all the way. At least it never did with me for either unit, and I tested both units. 10 hours in the sun gave me about an hour and a half of decent light before it started dying. So please keep that in mind. This is not a replacement for your regular propane lantern, and if you're getting this to light up your campsite, it's not going to work very well. So also, to me, I feel like it has some pretty long charging times as well. I get the solar panel part. I get that it's 10 hours to charge it, maybe up to 30% or 40%. But even with the USB charging, from it being completely dead, it took a good 4.5 hours to charge it up completely. To me, I think that's kind of long. I don't know if it's because of the battery or it's just the way it's designed. But keep in mind, it's not a 1 hour charge and you're ready to roll. Nah, it's good. It's a good 4 hours. So, please keep that in mind. Now, with the brightness quality of the lantern, keep this in mind as well. It's great for indoors. I had no problems using this indoors. It lit up the room very well. And I think the walls had a lot to do with it because it reflected the light back and it seemed like it was brighter than what it was. So indoors, it's fantastic. If you want to use this for camping and you want to use this inside of a tent, it'll work out great. When we went camping, we didn't really go camping. We rented out a cabin, which had limited electric, and these worked very well inside. Outdoors, the illumination really isn't very bright at all. With the lantern part, the flashlight part worked out extremely well indoors and outdoors. But the lantern part, if you're going to use this to light up your campsite, don't get rid of that propane lantern that you have, because this is not a substitute for that. You're not going to get a lot of a bright light radius from the lantern. Another thing I don't like, and this is regarding the flashlight. So when you're using the lantern actually stands upright from the flashlight. Now what I mean by that is the bottom of it is the flashlight, but that's also where the lantern stands. There's no cover for the flashlight lens. So if you knock it over, chances are you're going to be scratching that lens, or you might even break it. So keep that in mind. Be conscious and aware that when this is sitting upright, it's actually the flashlight portion is underneath it. So that's where it's sitting at. It does have a slight lip to it, but I wanted to put this as a con because at least they could have done is give you a cover for it. That would have been nice, a little protection cover. But I'm sure that would have upped the price overall of the unit. But at least it would give you some sort of protection for the flashlight part, which I feel isn't any at all. Now this unit is water resistant, not waterproof. The reason why I give this a con is because, yeah, they say it's water resistant. What water resistant means, and I have to explain this, is it's supposed to work when it's raining outside, but it won't work if you drop it in water. For instance, like if you accidentally drop it in a lake, or if you drop it in a pool or whatever, chances are it's not going to work. I'm a little skeptical about it even working in the rain, and that's because of the USB charging ports on the side. There's no covers for it. I mean, they're exposed all the time, and if you get water inside those little ports, I don't see this thing working very well. What I did was, if I know it was going to rain, or if it started raining when I'm outdoors, I had a clear plastic bag with me, and I simply just put the lantern inside the plastic bag, and it worked out great. I never got it wet at all. But they do say it's water resistant, but it's not waterproof, so keep that in mind. I do have a more detailed review on this on EmptyNesters.com if you are interested. I have the specs and everything all written out. So check it out if you're interested. But let's go ahead and get the final verdict. The final verdict I'm giving this is a 3 out of 5 stars. To me, is it worth it? Yes, I think it is, just for the price alone. I mean, it's $25 and you get 2 LED lamps, and with the option of solar charging and USB charging. Even though the solar charging is weak, I still think it's worth it, just for the price alone. In my personal opinion, I would upgrade the batteries. I would find some better batteries for this. Maybe that'll decrease the charge time and may even increase the light time. I don't know, I haven't tested it, but I plan on getting some newer batteries and some stronger batteries for these. But all in all, 3 out of 5 stars. I think it's well worth it. Just for the price alone, it's worth it. And you get the added convenience of solar charging in case your power goes out. You can still use this and still get some charge out of it, or power out of it. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot. As I mentioned before, we do have more reviews on EmptyNesters.com. There are reviews on our website that you won't see anywhere else, such as books, sleeping bags. So check us out. Again, thank you all for watching and sticking with me. And I will have more reviews coming up soon. So everyone have a good day. Thanks. Bye.